Don't worship religions, don't worship groups, don't worship constitutions, don't worship organizations, don't worship foundations, don't worship customs, don't worship the earth, don't worship pastors, don't worship men's, don't worship women's, don't worship girls, don't worship boys, don't worship celebrities, don't worship yourself, don't worship your job, don't worship your body, don't worship clothes, don't worship babies, don't worship cats, don't worship dogs, don't worship cars, don't worship trucks, don't worship houses, don't worship possessions, don't worship money, don't worship your education, don't worship Allah, don't worship Buddha, don't worship Joseph Smith, don't worship gold, don't worship silver, don't worship stocks, don't worship bonds, don't worship hats, don't worship boots, don't worship shoes, don't worship music, don't worship idols, don't worship tigers, don't worship whales, don't worship dolphins, don't worship your bank account, don't worship video games, don't worship governments, don't worship politicians, don't worship your employer, don't worship your husband, don't worship your wife, don't worship girlfriend, don't worship your boyfriend, don't worship your friend, don't worship the devil, don't worship your career, don't worship jewelry, don't worship TV, don't worship the internet, don't worship birds, don't worship pans, and don't worship belts, don't worship trees, don't worship phones, don't worship makeup, don't worship lipstick, don't worship wigs, don't worship canes, don't worship pictures, don't worship chains, don't worship dry food, don't worship desserts, don't worship canned goods, don't worship vehicles, don't worship motorcycles, don't worship candles, don't worship the dead, don't worship the living, don't worship the sky, don't worship the night, don't worship the light, don't worship the daytime, don't worship the stars, don't worship witches, don't worship warlocks, don't worship witch doctors, don't worship mediums, don't worship cigarettes, don't worship buildings, don't worship powder, don't worship land, don't worship airplanes, don't worship tables, don't worship rings, don't worship awards and achievements, don't worship walls, don't worship a book, don't worship wood, don't worship metal, don't worship steel, don't worship copper, don't worship the ground, don't worship the sun, don't worship people's assets, don't worship people's lips, don't worship people's tattoos, don't worship people's skin, don't worship people's skin color, don't worship people's sculpture, don't worship people's eye, don't worship people's eyebrows, don't worship people's hands, don't worship people's eyelashes, don't worship people's feet, don't worship people's nail, don't worship people's toenails, don't worship football, don't worship basketball, don't worship people's nose piercing and body piercing.